I found out I was banned from my sister's wedding. Yes, banned. The way you learn bad news in a soap opera. Straight from my mother's perfectly serious voice over the phone. She didn't sound angry. She sounded official, like she was reading out a sentence. Unless I apologized to Karen and agreed to give her $30,000, as in $30,000, not $30, not $300, I wasn't welcome at the ceremony. $30,000. That number echoed in my head like a bad pop song I couldn't turn off. But here's the thing. When people try to buy your silence or use guilt as currency, something inside you starts to wake up. I didn't back down. I showed up anyway, with a gift that turned their fairy tale wedding into a moral lesson painted in glitter and public humiliation. That day, I exposed exactly what my family believed I was worth, and what happened after tore straight through the illusion of their perfect day. If you've ever been treated like a walking ATM by people who share your last name, then this story has your name written all over it. Because this isn't about money. It's about boundaries, self-respect, and that painful moment when you finally realize peace at any price is no peace at all. So if you believe standing up for yourself matters more than keeping fake harmony, welcome aboard. My name's Linda, and all my life I've been labeled the responsible one, the saver, the planner, the one with a sensible car and reliable shoes, the one who invests instead of indulging. Meanwhile, my sister Karen floated through life like a champagne bubble with good lighting, collecting shiny handbags, men with deep pockets, and mother's endless affection. And our mother, Susan, cheerfully bankrolled every impulsive whim her golden child ever had. I didn't hate Karen for it. Honestly, how could I? She was pure energy, impulsive, loud, convinced the universe owed her something extra sparkly. I knew that dance well. Susan adored her vivaciousness, her drama, her mirror ball charm. Me? I was the calm that didn't photograph well, the practical one who built her life brick by brick. While Karen spent her 20s traveling to Milan, Bali, Paris, posting perfect filtered sunsets and cocktails, I spent mine hunched over blueprints, chasing deadlines and saving strategically. Every dollar accounted for, every long weekend spent on a side project or a licensing exam, and yet, I still took pride in what I'd built from nothing. A stable career in architecture, a comfortable apartment, and a 6-figure savings account earned with quiet, steady effort. Then came the announcement. Brunch, of course. Because Karen doesn't simply tell people things, she stages events. This one was at a trendy downtown bistro, the kind where a single mimosa costs what my groceries did for an entire week back when I was scraping rent together. She arrived glowing, her enormous engagement ring casting disco lights across the table. She tilted her head, all charm. "We're doing something totally unique for our registry," she said, her voice honey-sweet. "No boring gifts. We want experiences, memories." Mom beamed at her like she'd just reinvented generosity itself. "Isn't it brilliant?" she gushed. "They're so evolved." I smiled politely, coffee in hand, already sensing that famous Karen twist coming. It arrived right on cue, and Linda, she continued, leaning forward so I could practically smell her designer perfume, "since you're doing so well as an architect now, we thought you'd want to contribute something really meaningful." Cold warning bells clanged in my chest. Her tone was too deliberate, her smile too polished. "Sure," I said carefully. "What did you have in mind?" She glanced down dramatically at her phone, then back up with a grin of pure theater. "The honeymoon suite upgrade in Santorini," she declared. "The presidential suite, with private infinity pool, personal butler, everything. Once in a lifetime," I chuckled softly, trying to do the math in my head. "Okay, maybe 1,000? 2? Karen spun her phone around with the casual grace of someone showing off a diamond. Her perfectly manicured nail pointed to the number. $30,000. The sound around me dimmed. Chatter, cutlery, the sad acoustic version of some pop song. All of it blurred into static. "Karen," I said, laughing because otherwise I'd scream, "That's not a wedding gift. That's a house down payment. It's an investment in my happiness," she said sweetly. Her expression didn't flicker. I stared at her, my pulse climbing. "That's more than my car. That's a year of retirement savings. Karen, that's ridiculous." "Ridiculous?" she snapped, smile gone. You think my wedding is ridiculous? I think asking for $30,000 is ridiculous. Susan's eyes narrowed like clouds gathering before a storm. I'll give you $500, I said evenly. Cash. A generous gift, more than most give. Karen's face changed. Cold, sharp, unrecognizable. 500? She hissed. Linda, I'm your only sister. This is my wedding, and you're offering me what you'd tip a waiter? I'm offering you what I can give, I said calmly, though my hands trembled slightly under the table. You mean what you're willing to give? She spat. Just admit it, you're jealous. Jealous that I'm beautiful, happy, and marrying someone amazing, and you can't stand it. There it was, the toxic cherry on top. Before Susan could play referee, I was already gathering my things. I'm not jealous, Karen. I'm just not an ATM. Congratulations on your engagement. Let me know if you want the $500. I dropped cash for my untouched brunch and walked out into the morning sun, breath shaky, anger crystallizing in my chest. That night, Mom called, voice sugar-coated and dangerous. Linda, we need to talk about what happened today, she began, her tone halfway between lecture and threat. Mom, if this is about the money... Your sister is distraught, she cut me off. She told me she can't enjoy her wedding knowing her own sibling values money over family. My headache bloomed like fireworks. She demanded $30,000, Mom. I don't care about the details, Susan said, voice hardening. I care about peace. You know how important this day is. You're upsetting her. And what exactly do you expect me to do? You'll call your sister, you'll apologize, and you'll agree to give a proper amount. Otherwise, she paused, letting it hang like a guillotine. You're uninvited. The silence after that lasted 5 long seconds. Mom, I whispered finally. Are you serious? I won't have you poisoning the atmosphere with resentment, she said coldly. Until you apologize and make this right, you're not welcome at Karen's wedding. Then, click. The line went dead. I stood there in my quiet living room, phone still pressed against my ear, the world muffled and unreal. I'd just been uninvited from my own sister's wedding, because I refused to hand over the price of a luxury car. Shock burned out, replaced by something colder, clarity. This had never been about money. It was about control, about their belief that kindness could be bought, and silence demanded, that I existed to fund their choices, smile on cue, and pay for the privilege of belonging. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, every thought hammering louder. Years of being the dependable one, the quiet one, the good daughter, the one who held the line and never asked for respect in return. That night I didn't sleep. I lay awake staring at my ceiling, feeling the weight of decades of being there, responsible one, the boring one, the one who was supposed to just smile and write checks and never demand respect in return. The next 2 weeks were psychological warfare. First came the text from cousins. Hey, are you coming to Karen's wedding? I heard there was some family drama. Innocent enough on the surface, but clearly fishing for details Karen had fed them. Testing to see if I'd crack. Then the emails about the seating chart from Karen's wedding planner. We need to finalize numbers. Please confirm your attendance status. Passive-aggressive reminders that I was causing logistical problems with my stubbornness. My Aunt Jennifer called, her voice dripping with concern. Linda, honey, Susan told me about the situation. Don't you think you're being a little harsh? It's Karen's special day. I held firm. No calls, no apologies, no caving. But inside I was planning. 3 days before the wedding, he went to the bank. I withdrew $500 and asked for a specific denomination. Crisp new 10 bills, 50 of them. The teller looked at me oddly, but complied. That evening, I visited a specialty engraving shop downtown. The owner, an older man named Joseph, raised his eyebrows at my request, but didn't ask questions. A gold-plated key. I specified small, decorative, and I need the number 500 engraved on it. Just the number? Just the number. It cost me $85. Worth every penny. The night before the wedding, I carefully arranged the $50 bills in a beautiful gift box stacked neatly with the engraved key resting on top. I handwrote a note on expensive cardstock for the key to my wallet, the maximum capacity of my goodwill. My hands didn't shake. My resolve didn't waver. I felt calm, purposeful, like an architect finalizing blueprints for a building that would stand for generations. At 9 p.m., my phone rang. Susan, Linda. She sounded exhausted. The wedding is tomorrow. This is your last chance. Just apologize to your sister. Tell her you'll give the money or you'll find a way. Just fix this so you can attend. It looks terrible that you're not coming. People are asking questions. I paused, letting the silence stretch. I won't apologize for my financial boundaries, Mom, but I will come to the wedding. You'll what? I'll be there and I'll give Karen my gift. Tell her I'm sorry for any disappointment I've caused. I could hear the relief in Susan's exhale. Thank God, Linda, I knew you'd come around. This is the right thing. She had no idea. I dressed immaculately. Navy blue dress perfectly tailored. Hair professionally styled. Makeup understated but flawless. I looked like money. Like success. Like someone who absolutely could afford a $30,000 gift, but was choosing not to give it. The wedding was at a country club. All white columns and manicured lawns. I arrived 15 minutes before the ceremony, fashionably late enough to make an entrance. Susan intercepted me immediately, her eyes blazing despite her frozen smile. You need to apologize to your sister right now, she hissed, reaching up to just my collar like I was a child, and you need to look sincere. I found Karen in the bridal suite, surrounded by bridesmaids. Her eyes were red-rimmed. Whether from happy tears or disappointed rage, I couldn't tell. The room went silent when I entered. Karen, I said clearly, pitching my voice just loud enough for everyone to hear. I am truly sorry that my personal financial decisions have caused you and Mom so much disappointment. I hope that the tremendous happiness you clearly deserve surrounds you today. It wasn't an apology for setting a boundary. It was an apology for failing to be their ATM. Karen, desperate to end the drama and save face in front of her bridesmaids, nodded curtly. Then I handed her the beautifully wrapped box, small, elegant, tied with silk ribbon. My gift to you. Thank you, she said stiffly, setting it aside. I'll open it later, of course. Enjoy your day. The ceremony was beautiful, generic, but beautiful. Karen and Michael exchanged vows under a flower arc that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. I sat in the back row watching, waiting. I stayed for the first round of photos, enough to be seen, enough to prove I'd attended. Then I slipped out during the cocktail hour long before the reception speeches and dinner service. I was home, shoes off, glass of wine in hand, when me father David called. He'd been traveling for work, arriving just in time for the wedding itself. So he'd missed most of the family drama. Linda, he said, and I could hear the barely suppressed laughter in his voice. She found it. Found what? I asked innocently. The key. The stack of tens. She opened your gift during the cocktail hour. Showed it to Susan first. I heard Susan actually gasp out loud. He chuckled. A sound of strained amusement mixed with genuine respect. Karen made a bit of a scene about how cheap the gift was. Started ranting about 10 bills. But her friend Patricia, you remember Patricia from college? She asked what the key meant. Karen had to read the note out loud. I closed my eyes imagining it. For the key to my wallet, the maximum capacity of my goodwill. The room went absolutely silent. David continued. Everyone suddenly understood exactly what had happened. That your attendance had a literal price tag. That Karen had demanded it and you'd publicly, elegantly refused to pay it. Linda, it was perfect. Brutal, but perfect. Susan tried calling that night 15 times. I didn't answer. Karen sent a text at 2 a.m. You humiliated me at my own wedding. I will never forgive you. I typed back. I gave you exactly what I offered. You chose to make it about more. They say revenge is a dish best served cold. Mine came gold-plated and engraved. Did I miss the wedding reception? Yes. Do I regret it? Not even slightly. Because here's what I learned. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is refuse to play the game. Karen and Susan thought they could price my family membership at $30,000. They thought my love, my presence, my respect could be purchased with an ultimatum and some guilt trips. Instead, I showed them and everyone at that wedding that I couldn't be bought, that my money and my presence were two entirely separate things, and neither one was available for ransom. The fallout has been predictable. Susan sends occasional texts about healing the family. Karen has blocked me on all social media. Extended family members have taken sides, most of them quietly supportive once they heard the full story. But I sleep well at night. My savings account remains intact. My boundaries remain firm. And somewhere in Karen's house, There's a gold-plated key engraved with the number 500. A permanent reminder that family isn't about how much you're willing to sacrifice. It's about mutual respect. And respect, unlike a presidential suite in Santorini, cannot be purchased. If this story resonated with you, smash that like button and drop a comment about your own family boundary battles. Subscribe for more revenge stories that prove standing your ground is always worth it. Remember, the price of your self-respect should never be negotiable, not even for family. See you in the next one.